in the days or weeks leading up to January 6th, what was kind of going through your mind?
Well, I had moved back from Hawaii during the pandemic to be closer to my mom and my grandma. So I was already in the right mindset of, I mean, I knew that the pandemic was all fake and I was never going to get vaccinated and I never wore a mask or anything. And then when the election happened, and I could tell, I took statistics in college, so I could tell that there was a lot of shenanigans going on with the election. And once Trump asked everybody to come and try to get Congress to look at it, I decided, since I didn't have a family to hold me back or anything, I needed to be in DC to watch his speech. I quit my job in 2001 after 9/11 because I was a military defense contractor, and I was pretty confident that the military had done that to us to put us in perpetual war. So 20 years later, when Trump didn't get reelected, it wasn't a big stretch for me to know that the election had been stolen, and that a probable false flag event would occur on January 6th. And I spent the last 20 years of my life telling people that 9/11 was a false flag, and everybody said, "How do you know you weren't there?" And so I decided to fly to DC to witness the false flag myself, because I didn't want to be in the same situation I've been in for 20 years already, saying, "Were you at?" People asking me if I was there. I really feel like God sent me there. I don't go to church. I'm not part of a church in San Diego, but I feel like I've been leading my life the way that the Bible tells us to, and I feel like that's why I was there. So that's what my mindset was to go witness the false flag as a citizen journalist, and come back to California, where people are too far away from all that baloney to understand it, and to be a real witness, because not a lot of people from San Diego were going to be there that day. So that was what my mindset was when I went.
So would it be fair to say that you went alone? You didn't go with a group of friends that day, or?
Oh, 100%. I never even asked anybody if they wanted to
Right.
go. It was never even any. I knew all my friends had families and they had children and wives, and it was a political thing. I'd already lost and been in enough political arguments over the 4 years that Trump was president, that I realized a lot of my friends had been secret liberals and Democrats and not thinking correctly for years. It wasn't until the NFL started doing stupid stuff, and then Major League Baseball, and you couldn't even sit through 15 minutes of an American sport without getting bombarded with a bunch of propaganda. So yeah, I only had a handful of friends left that weren't sick and tired of me talking about how corrupt our government was at that point.
I hear you. I hear you. I think it's relatable to a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah.
When you got there, so you did you fly in the night before and stay the night, or did you get there that day and
I
head
actually
right
flew
over?
in 2 days early because I had never been to Washington, D.C. in my life. Well, in sixth grade camp, the California government ran out of money, and we all got bit. We didn't get to go to Washington, D.C. like all the other kids did for the 5 years before when I was in school. So yeah, we didn't get the DC trip. So I never went to DC. I was 49 years old when this happened. And so yeah, I went a day early. I got myself an Airbnb up a couple miles up. I forget what the neighborhood was called, but it was on top of 16th Street, like 3 miles north of the Capitol building. And I got an Uber, and I walked around the whole area on the 5th to get my bearings and figure out how far away I was going to be when the event occurred. So yeah, it was really interesting because it was so eerie and cold and just not inviting, and they were hanging plywood in front of glass, like a mile away from the Capitol building. And I asked the Uber driver, "I'm like, what's going on? Why are they hanging? Why are they boarding up all the buildings in this neighborhood?" I'm like, "Oh, well, 2 years ago in the BLM riots, they destroyed billions and billions of damage and broke everything and da da da." And I looked the guy right in the face and I said, "Yeah, but there's going to be a bunch of middle-aged, God-loving people. This isn't going to be a BLM riot. This is going to be a peaceful protest." And the guy's like, like I said, "You do understand the difference between the two sides, right?" He's like, "Well, I really hope you're right." "Oh, you're right." And he just kind of hesitantly said, "Oh, you're right." Like didn't really mean it. And I was like, this is weird, man. But yeah, there's a lot of propaganda that I found the day before. There were actual signs There were literally handmade signs, 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper stapled to the telephone poles and the trees going down 16th Avenue, like 2 miles away from the Capitol, that said, "Stay in your homes. The racists are coming." Like all this just really weird propaganda stuff that I was shocked to see. So yeah, I did get there a day early to get my bearings.
Yeah, I get that. And you sightsee a little bit.
Yeah. Down to the Washington Monument, walked the reflective pool full of poop. Was just blown away by that one. That shocked me. Yeah. So yeah, I got in there a day early. I went to the Freedom Rally the night before, and I actually watched Alex Jones on TV from my Airbnb when he was down there, and then I walked down there afterwards, and I watched people talk there, and there was only like maybe 10,000 people in DC that night. Maybe in that pavilion listening to those speakers the night before. And I remember walking back to my hotel that night and going, "Man, did I blow it? Is this going to be a big nothing burger? Like, if there's nobody here and this place is just dead as a doornail, I'm like, this is really strange." But I had done a lot of homework on what it's like to protest in DC online the best I could, like what type of numbers to expect and the history of it. And it was really, it was a lot of things online that said that Washington D.C. can be filled with millions and millions of people overnight because the East Coast is so dense and the cities are so close together. So I wasn't really that worried because I had done enough homework to realize, everybody can just come in the morning, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened. It was shocking. The whole energy and vibe of the entire city changed overnight. When I woke up in the morning and finally got out of my Uber and started walking around, it was like a completely different place. There was so much positive energy and music, and it was night and day between the 5th and the 6th as far as negative energy on the 5th and complete positive uplifting energy on the 6th, before Trump spoke.